Welcome to Beachside Tech Talk, episode 100.
100.
We made
Yay.
3 digits. Yay. We're here at the House of Web3 in the Presidio, and our friends, Brandon and Curtis from Firma, also CIK, they've come. Justice Earl's with us, of course, with Teddy and Paul. Malachi's with us. It's going to be a blast. We're having people starting to come in now. I'm going to turn the camera around and put it on mute, and we'll kind of come back in a half hour. So for those that are just watching, you'll just be waiting for us to kind of get started, but that way I don't have to go through the process in a half hour when all of a sudden it's ready to rock and roll. Here's Malachi. Malachi, say hi to everybody. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us. If you're with us live or if you watch this later, thanks for being with us. If you are watching this later, you might want to just fast forward about 20 to 35 minutes when we actually start there on the other side of the camera. Until then, friends, we salute you. Ooh, a little bit of Filipino love action right there. Okay, we're going to jump off and put the other camera on.
Mary told me she didn't do it. She loved him, and I believed her. I had no idea who killed him. How did he want him? All I was thinking was that I couldn't deal with another scandal. I didn't do it. Professional, like the home William. Did you bigger nightmare? Up in him, and he was sitting in jail. As Paramount, Arbuckle was my biggest star. I had $3 million tied up in him, and he was sitting in jail. And just as I was figuring, bigger nightmare. Hello? Did you call the police? Yeah. I'll be right there. Someone had heard a gunshot go off at the home of William Desmond Taylor, the director that I paired with Mary Miles Minter. Although if rumors were true, I'll share it with you. As soon as I see it, I'll share it with you. Oh, they won't let me in.
allowing us to work with multiple different threads. One of those is community gatherings, which is what I stay connected with, which is the connected community piece. One of the things we do is we actually have some new models for working towards some of the biggest problems in our city. Some of those models, all those models don't invent anything. All we do is we just try and get groups to work together to solve some of our bigger problems. We have this AI-generated model of a document that was pretty cool about our holistic approach, about individuals who go from crisis to kind of at risk to fully restored in the community in terms of their personal journey. And the way that we do that is with a myriad of nonprofits, a number of people with incredible gifts and skills. Many of them are here in this room, so make sure you meet some of the people here in certain industries you'd like to get to know. We'd love for you to sign in over here, just kind of give us an idea of your organizations you're with so we can help you with the networking side. I've already heard from a number of like amazing opportunities being created as people interact. So this is already a huge success and we haven't even started yet. But we do want to give you a model in terms of like what we're working towards or how we're helping individuals that are out there. The biggest problem with the whole continuum of care collaborative communities is that we all work in silos. We all lack the resources to really grow our teams, to be effective. And we don't have the visibility or the data-driven capabilities to know what's really working, what's not. So a lot of this is a lot of guesswork. A lot of it is still kind of uncovering or kind of revealing itself. So we don't have all the answers, but this is kind of what we're dedicated towards and what we're working towards.
This is awesome, Ted.
Part of what we do is we want to have monthly gatherings like this. Again, we want to announce next month we're going to do another Friday gathering as we get closer to Christmas. Friday seems to be a good day, so it's got a great attendance here. Thank you guys for coming down here. We're working on learning from each other, and we're also going to work for building solutions together, both technical and communal stuff. So collaborating in real life and working on the technical side to kind of help in the capabilities. Along those lines, we got our speakers coming in here, and I would love to introduce you to a number of folks. And if I can get you guys to come up on this side as we do the introductions, I got microphones over here. That's why I want to make sure I get these out here. As long as you guys roll up, we're good. So that being said, I'm going to give you this. I want to introduce you guys to a couple of some amazing people. We're going to have a great conversation. I'm not going to lead this competition. You participate in it because I get to play nerd today, not community guy.
You're always the community guy, Paul. Hi, everybody. Great to be with all of you. Really excited about some of the friends that have come to spend time with us today. The stuff they're doing globally is really, really inspirational. And not just an inspiration, but potentially folks that you can be collaborating with, if not this season, certainly over the course of the next year or so. So I'll bring Paul back and Ted, who many of you know. Brandon and Curtis will be coming in just a moment, as well as Justice. And then we'll dive into, ideally, a dialogue with the six of us talking with all of you. That's the goal. In fact, it'd be great for all of us to be able to learn from the wisdom in the room. Before they come up, the thing I'll say is this. It does feel like in the city, a lot of the things that are talked about are things that are present right this very second. And people seem to be maybe a little too passionate about loving and hating everything in the present. And I kind of wonder how often we wouldn't be so overwhelmingly intense about our passion for being a Democrat or Republican, or our passion for this faith paradigm or that faith paradigm, or the way that we deal with society, if we just kind of had a long view and said, will I feel this intense about this political leader or about this financial structure in 10 years? And maybe we'd be a little less intense about that. And what I find in our friends here today is they've cast an incredible, compelling vision for what they intend to do with their ecosystem partners over the course of the next decade. They've laid out a strategy. They've built consensus globally around that strategy. And now they're in the process of starting the momentum, this multi-long, super marathon of a race. And so as we gather and we just kind of sit and talk with one another, it is an opportunity to not just be caught up in the day, right? Not just be caught up in what's happening at the end of 2025, but what is possible by 2035. And if this is not something that you ever get involved in, the things that they're working on globally, still may it be at least an inspiration to you. Leaders have different ways of leading. It's been said that the great protester, Martin Luther, that he pounded the 95 Thesis on the wall and he said, I'm going to light myself on fire. Everyone will come watch me burn. And we all know Martin Luther, right? We don't know his second in command. We don't know his top 12 that really made things happen with him. We know Martin Luther. One thing that's very different about the men that are coming up and the women that are also part of their leadership team that just don't happen to be here is it's not about one individual person. None of these folks want to be remembered by their name and their mark. It is a group of people with managed egos that are doing great things all collaboratively together. And I think that's a wonderful way of doing leadership, regardless of what your faith paradigm is, what your political leanings are, or what you do for a living in your career. We do desire, all of us, to be part of low ego, high collaborative environments where we're chasing after ambitious things that really matter. And with that, let me bring our friends up. Brandon, come on up. Welcome, my friend. Curtis, why don't you come take a seat? Teddy. Hey, Teddy. Paul and Justice, come on over. So let's start with this. 30 seconds, comic book one. Give us a little intro into who you are and how you got kind of inspired into the things that you're doing for your career today. And Justice, you're such a smooth talker. We'll have you start and set the tone. And I know how much you love structure, and so a little chaos to build your character. You're welcome.
Just put internet connected electronics inside of solar panels, and by the time I left, we had devices on all 7 continents, and then that company had an IPO. And then now, as I'm like learning about Web3, even though I was like on the front ends of this technology, I feel like I'm on the back end of this technology and like having to learn something brand new all over again. So I've been involved with these guys over the last few months, just learning a lot in the world, and it's interesting and trying to be like a child, just like soak it up and learn.
I think you said it correctly. I think if I could sum up who I am, I'm a big child. I just sit around and I dream with God. I dream about all the things that are possible in a world where people want things to be redemptive and regenerative, and they want peace and they want abundance and they want hope and they want love. It seems to be all the things that people want, but then we don't produce them. So then what's wrong? Why aren't we producing these systems? And so I was a Bay Area tech guy as well. I worked for a company called Cello as well, last company. Some people, last time I was here, people worked at Cello. So some people here, but they were building for, a blockchain system and a stablecoin system. And it was connected with things like the World Economic Forum. And there's a plan out in the world that is going out there. And I decided that I wanted to build a plan that would go against necessarily that plan. And so I think that there's 2 paths being built in the world, and I'm just crazy enough, or maybe childish enough, in the love of God to build it. So that's my thing.
That's great.
Thanks, buddy. Here.
You guys hear me? There's my voice. Yeah, so I would have to maybe argue I might be a little bit bigger of a child than him, but yeah, so when Curtis and I started this journey together, it was really around, we were both building our own kingdoms at the time. We both had our own respective technology companies. We're both doing what the world has taught us for so many years. We wanted to build this thing and we wanted to make all the money. And then we realized that God had a very different plan for our lives. We had to lay everything down, and I can kind of get into that a little bit here, but really it was around like, how do you bring unity? And there's so divisive. There's 60,000 denominations of Christianity. And so we just kind of really just spending so much time in discovery with the Lord of like, what do you want us to do? He's like, first, I want you to build a new a new system that doesn't have the equity, the usury, all the things in the system. It's really around how do we take tech and finance and build a redemptive model or redemptive system that can bring what heaven looks like down on earth. And so we just started dreaming together, and we just said, Lord, this is yours, and just continue to miraculous things that happen all the time. We've got the right people around us, and now we're just in the season of, it's very clear from the Lord what he wants us to do in our mandate. And we're excited because, you know, I say this very seriously. It's a God-sized dream that's worth dying for. And so when you say it like that and people realize like, we're not just building something because we want to do it. We're building it because we feel like if some of us are crazy enough to believe that his promises are real, and he gives us a wherewithal and he can do things that don't make sense. Like, how are you going to build a new financial system with not raising money? And like, we have no idea.
We figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, that's kind of a little bit of our hearts. But yeah, it's a very serious thing. We take it very seriously. It's not, we're trying to do this like we said earlier, we're not trying to have our name on the door of anything. We're just trying to see what would Jesus do? Like how could we go out and love the world and do something that most people are willing to not do?
So I'm Ted Haas. Most of you know me, but for those of you who don't, I've been in and out of prison the last 18 years. That gets people's attention. I've never been incarcerated by God's grace. No one caught me for the things I did. I play basketball inside prison. So how am I here? You know, after I graduated from college, I'm a young idealist who wants to change the world, had been deeply changed. My life had been changed by an encounter, a religious encounter, and I want to make the world better. I also love playing basketball, and I go to Portugal and I have a chance to play basketball there, and I'm working as a social entrepreneur. And that was the midst of the worst heroin epidemic in Western history. And I met my wife there. That was kind of a precursor to what's happening now with fentanyl. And, you know, this contrast of being so blessed to be able to play, but then working with, you know, these people who are just so completely broken, and believing that we can go beyond, like there's something wrong and we can change this trajectory. Now I'm at 55. And I was born in 1971. Silicon Valley was born I was born in 1970. Silicon Valley was born in 71. That's when the transistor was invented and when the Silicon Valley was first used as a term. And at our halfway point, you know, I mean, for me, I believe I'm going to live to 120. So I'm about at halfway. Okay. But 55 years. What's our report card? A $4 trillion economy. If we were a country, California is the fourth largest economy. That means there's only 3 other countries ahead of us. The US as a country, China and Germany, and then us. That's incredible. Yay, go California. We're also the leader in human trafficking. We're a leader in homelessness. We are 2x the national average in food insecurity. So we're a leader in hunger and in food insecurity. We're a leader in mass incarceration. We're a leader in prison recidivism, which means not only do we lock them up, when they come out, they get locked up again. We're a leader in unequal access to justice. Okay, yay to our friend Adrian Tirtonati. But one of the stats that really hit me is the Philippines. The poor in the Philippines have more access to legal aid than the poor here in California, in San Francisco. Okay, that's the good news and the bad news, and it can get depressing. It can also get you fired up because I mean, that's the whole term of innovate. I believe we can bring the spirit of innovation together with the problems that matter most, and I think we can change that trajectory in the next 50 years. And that's why I'm so excited to be here and to partner with cool people like all of you all.
My name is Paul Eisner, and while I may not be the biggest child, I'm probably older than everybody else, but doesn't mean I have to grow up, right? So I got a lot of growing up to do, but it's been like 30 years in the tech industry, working Web2 stuff, working with big enterprise organizations, break down silo walls, try to get them to be more collaborative together. And a couple of years ago, just really felt like I needed to do the same thing for communities, that there's so many good people doing so many amazing things. we work in isolation, and it's a big problem in big companies. They end up competing with each other in silos rather than competing with the industry that they're trying to be successful in. And I think we can tackle some of the biggest problems. So I'm super excited. There was a recent study by Harvard on what they call the Thriving Index. And one of the things I found most interesting is having a spirituality and having a faith in something bigger than yourself is a huge benefit for people when they face really traumatic or difficult times, which is fairly obvious. The other one is the two extremes, the ultra poor and the ultra wealthy, both are the lowest on the thriving meters. Having way too much and way too little destroys your life. It consumes everything, so you can't be happy. And I think there's some wisdom in that. And somehow, if we're giving back to the community that is in need, and we get them to believe there's a way up, and the folks that have so much resources, if they can find the time to be generous down, I think it makes them happier as well. So finding that, and if we call that currency, if we call that wealth, whatever we call it, if you have too much of something, it's too heavy to carry. You want to share it with love. So it's what drives me to be here.
I don't know if I introduced myself. My name's Ian Utilli. I've co-founded 10 companies, primarily tech companies, also some agencies in between things. And 2 of those, our team scaled to 9 figures. So we've had some measure of success that we're quite grateful for. And primarily I'm involved in innovation around Web3, blockchain stuff, as well as AI. So what I want to transition our conversation to is, what does success look like for what we're working on in 10 years? And what I'd love for everyone here to be thinking about is the same thing. Let's say in the next 5 minutes or so, we're going to wrap up our answer to this. And I'd love for folks here that are sitting with us to, raise your hand and share, what does success mean for you? Whether you're a nonprofit leader, whether you're involved in technology, or you're a freelancer, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you're doing, what does success look like in 2035? If you achieve some measure of what you're running after, what does that look like? And for some of us, success looks like our fruit growing on someone else's tree, right? We're focused as being a Jedi master, and we're all about our Padawans. For others, success looks like our fruit growing on someone else's tree because we have a job and we're working for someone else and we're running after their vision, but we've made their vision our own. So it doesn't matter what success looks like for you. One reason why I'm going to ask these fellas to answer this question is I do think their answer will be encouraging to many of you. So Justice, what does success look like for all that you're working on in the next 10 years? What's your compelling vision that people may be inspired by?
10 years is definitely it's this weird paradox. It's like simultaneously super far away, but also like tomorrow in a way. So the thing that I've been trying to focus on is just like daily success, which, I've been saying that success is, for me, is waking up in the morning excited about what I'm working on and who I'm working on it with, and going to bed at night being proud of what I did. That's like literally my definition of success. And then, wealth and accolades and all those things are important, and if they're going in the right direction, but really like living present and being present every day. And then, as Paul was talking about, having the outflow of your life. Like if I'm, somebody asked me what my favorite verse was, Proverbs 4:23, keep watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flows the springs of life. So if I'm doing a good job at tending the garden of my soul, and I'm in a fruitful place, there's this kind of natural overflow into other people's lives that just happens beautifully and naturally and organically. So that's for me. I mean, there's so many problems. You just can throw a rock and find a problem. But, I've been trying to also zone in on the ikigai, where it's like, what do you love to do? What are you good at? What are you passionate? And what will the world pay you for? And so instead of like finding a problem that's an emergency and like going and, whatever, it's like, hey, what am I designed to do? And like, how does this best serve the world? How does it fit into a blend of both who I am and how to solve this problem? So just being present and conscious about that. And there's so many problems to solve. But if I'm overflowing, then I'm just going to be organically solving problems. That's at least where I'm at today.
I love that answer. I think there is a personal part of me. It's like over the next 10 years, the Orthodox would call it theosis. It's basically I need to disappear more and more of Christ needs to show up in me. And if I can do that, if I can achieve depth of my flesh and more divineness, meaning more connection with God, I will be an overflow. And hopefully the ideas and the big dreams inside of my mind could actually come to pass through the mind of Christ and through his grace and through his mercy. And so on the spiritual side and the personal side, that would impact my family and generations and my legacy. So that's super important for me. That's like a core focus over here. And then it's like, what is my mandate? So that has to be healthy. And then what's my mandate? In 10 years, I want to see heaven on earth. And I'm going to unpack that a little bit. And then maybe we can dive into it. I don't think we'll have time to dive into it all. But I don't just mean that like philosophically. I mean that literally. So I want you guys to look up something called network states. If you haven't, does anybody in here know what a network state is? My man. All right. Okay, so look up a network state. And if you go to firma.network, that's our company.
FIRMA.network, and it's thenetworkstate.com.
Yeah. So
Two separate things.
picture not that long ago, a few hundred years ago, most of the countries that you lived in didn't exist. America didn't exist. Most of Europe didn't exist the way it is. These are all new. We think that they're old, they're not. This is all a new framework. It was empires and it was dynasties, and we've gone through different parts of civilization where we're coming towards an impasse. Most people don't know it. Some do. We just got back from a conference in Singapore with the heads of Coinbase and the head of Ethereum and a bunch of different people. These people know. And so what I mean by heaven on earth is creating a new system connected through technology, through a layer that would connect everybody, honestly, that wants to be connected to a system of abundance. But ideally, my own personal use of this technology platform, Firma Network, which will be used by anybody, my own personal use is to connect Christians on planet Earth and to give them sovereignty and a country to live in that sits above their current country. So you all, I guess, live in the United States or you're visiting the United States, but you have a passport somewhere, right? You're a sovereign citizen of some country. Well, some people hold dual citizenships. So I could go get a citizenship right now in Nevis, St. Kitts. Dubai will give me a visa. Like I can actually be a citizen of multiple places at once. Well, we can become citizens of digital countries, of network states, borderless countries. What if we connected every Christian on planet Earth through technology? What if we were able to create a currency layer, a communication layer, a theology layer? What if we created the largest country on planet Earth, but it just sat above the current layer that we're on? This isn't theoretical. We're actually doing this right now. As Ian had mentioned, like it's almost like the best way to put it, we've been verified by some really amazing people around the planet. We have advisors that have created things called special economic zones. Some of the first special economic zone in China. Another special economic zone would be like Singapore started as a special economic zone, right? You think of Singapore, it's like really big now. That's like 60 years old. Whole country of Saudi Arabia kind of started as an economic zone. Dubai is special economic zone. The United States is opening up special economic zones. They're going to be called freedom cities. And what they're going to do is allow other countries to come here and produce things like chips, which would give value to jobs here in the United States. That's how the world is going to be. Whether we like it or not, that's just where the world's going. So what if we created a version of that was super healthy and filled with abundance? So yeah, I think that's my dream.
And what I'll do is I'll kind of add to that because our dreams it's the same dream, it's God's dream, but we're completely aligned on that. And so just really quick before I kind of add on to that, in 10 years, I see revivals happening now. I think there's a reformation coming. I think it's starting. But in 10 years, I want to see a renaissance. I want to see people that are flourishing, that are not bound by money, the financial freedom they have, physical freedom, religious freedom, and we can see like things that are happening in the world right now. And so that's my dream, to see that, to be able to be a small part in a catalyst in that happening. But it takes a bunch of us to do it. And so just to add to what Curtis would say is like, you know, when we're born into a country, we don't get to choose where we're born, right? And so it goes back on the basis of God gave us free will. And if you're born in different countries, you're in impoverished countries, it's sad. But our dream is to build a place in 10 years where you can make a choice and you can actually become a citizen and adopt the Constitution with all biblical worldviews, right? You can create your own Constitution for your own thing, but ours specifically, we want to build a network, but we also want to build our own specific, what we call heaven, right? And so giving the people that freedom to do that is so important. And we're all fragmented, you know, in different things. And so like our thing is like, how do we use economics and redeeming the economics of where they're currently at in the world and create a system where we have a union. You can't unify everyone. We have 60,000 different, you know, denominations of Christianity, but one thing we can all agree on, hopefully, as Christians, is Christ is King. And that let's start creating an economic flywheel within our ecosystem, and that alone, we truly believe, will actually change everyone's financial freedom. We're talking about porn would go away because people want to sell themselves and to you know do the things to make money and do drugs or sell drugs. There's so many different things that we can get into, but that's my dream. That's what I see in 10 years is really a new era of Renaissance, where there's art and there's things that people are just flourishing. They don't have to worry about, you know, persecution or whatever's happening in their local area. And they can just make a choice to either join this digital nation or to move to a sovereign place where they feel that where their community is and they feel protected and seen and loved.
That's beautiful. That's powerful. And I get really fired up by these future visions and dreaming about the future. I also, you know, can very much relate to what Justice said. It's like you got to correlate that with getting up in the morning. You know, my sister has a statement, make the bar low and hit it every time. It's like, just get up and keep moving forward, you know, and correlating those two. And okay, here's my dream. I don't know if it's 10 years. You know, if you project and you have a 50-year vision, which I do. I mean, you know, we think so short-sightedly now at times. I have a 50-year vision, okay? So 10 years is a really early milestone marker. But I have this dream. Every time I go into San Quentin prison, and I've been going there for 18 years, it's like this weird experience, because the first time I went in, I was probably, I don't know, you know, I hadn't been to prison before to play basketball. I think these guys are going to be like on the edge, ready to fight. You know, I better be nice and whatever, you know. And then we play basketball and realize, oh, they're ready to fight. It's like my brother, man. They're playing hard, but there's most respect. Like it's the funnest place I've ever played, the most respectful place I've ever played, the safest place, you know. And they're the most beautiful people you've met. And, you know, people tell me like, man, that's so great. You're giving back. And I go, I hope I am, but man, I get so much more out of it than I give, you know. I come in and San Quentin, you know, it has its own beauty. It's the wealthiest, it's the most expensive real estate on planet Earth. I mean, this is crazy. Okay. And then you're driving in, and in the natural, there's this one side that these are the rejects. You know, we don't want them, so we put them here. And there's a lot of truth to that. Like food in prison is not tasty like it is here. You know, but then on the other side, God gave them the most beautiful real estate in the world. And I have this dream. I keep driving in there. You know, one day we're going to come here, and it's going to be like driving into Sausalito. And I'm going to take my kids here. Maybe there'll be a court. I love playing outdoors. Maybe they'll keep the basketball court there, and we'll go play. And it'll be some of the most amazing outdoor runs, you know. And we'll go play pickup there. And there'll be these high-end restaurants and all that. And it's all developed and it's transformed. And there's a museum to mass incarceration. The same way that we have a Holocaust museum, because we want to commemorate something that was horrible and brokenness that we had in our past so that we never do it again. And we want to educate the future generations of mass incarceration. And I imagine a conversation I have with my grandkids or my great grandkids. And, you know, Ian and I are talking, Paul and I are talking, and say, remember back when we used to lock everybody up? And they're asking, what was mass incarceration? What was homelessness? And we have to tell them what it was. That's my big dream. 10 years, what if 10 years from now we had a community that we could go to? And we could say this place, like what if we could drive down University Boulevard, JFK Boulevard, no, Martin Luther King Boulevard in Oakland. Have you driven down that recently? Oh man, homeless encounter after homeless encounter. What if we could drive through that and there's no homelessness there? And when people come and visit from Texas and they're talking about homelessness and we say, no, yeah, it used to be really bad here. Oh, you're California, you know. No, it used to be really, really bad here. This used to be just, and then we'll show them the pictures of how bad it was. Something that was in the past. What if we had one community 10 years from now? Maybe we can do it sooner, where we can take them and say, these people all used to be homeless and they're not anymore. That's my dream.
So mine is a little bit more simple. So have you ever heard the term time is money? We've all heard that term. I want people to truly believe that. I want people to understand that time is a currency, or a currency that is that can earn things. And talent is a multiplier on that. When you invest in new skills, you can share that with people. And assets that you acquire, those are currency as well. So this idea that there is so much currency around us right now, we just always measure things in US dollars. And the reality is US dollars is a form of currency, but the value of who we are and what we do is incredibly valuable. I truly believe once we can get to an understanding of what is currency, that the poorest in this world can decide to give their time to help somebody else, and they could raise funds to help someone who's not as stable as they are. And I believe that the wealthy will be able to take portions of their assets and their talents and give it back. And it will translate into a currency that's reusable for other people. So this idea of sharing just becomes part of our nature and part of our who we are. But the whole idea is a different understanding of what is the currency of my life and how much room do I have to share it. That's my goal.
So in just a moment, Ken and Malachi have microphones and they'll be available to bring them to you. You're welcome to make a statement about yourself and your vision. You're welcome to ask us a question. I'd prefer you make a statement. We also are here to hear from you. We may or may not choose to respond to your statement that we're inspired by, or maybe we have a question to clarify. Try not to keep it too long. All of us have vision that's generally shared. So I didn't share mine. So like I have a general vision that many of you would be like, yeah, me too. Like I want a happier marriage. I want a stronger bond with my wife. I want to still be married in 10 years. I want to be as healthy spiritually and physically and emotionally as I've ever been in 10 years and progressively growing in my holistic health. I want my 3 children who are now 9 and 13 and 16 to be independent, productive members of society. So these are types of things where like, yeah, we all want those things in 10 years. Then there's very specific things, right? Like I have a company called Attention Life. And in 10 years, I would love for more than 1 billion humans to be compensated for their attention through our automation system. Like that's a very specific vision that's just specific to me. And that vision of helping more than 1 billion humans be compensated for their attention drives me to make decisions for our company. Or I have partners, like I want to see Justice and everything that he's working on and has worked on for a decade to really impact the ability for content creators to do more with the products that he's built. Or I want Curtis and Brandon and everyone involved with Firma Network to actually achieve their vision of a Ministry of Finance and different approach to sovereign wealth funds and a different approach to a network state. You know, how often do we see people talk big and act little, or have big vision but no funding to do so? These are 2 men that act big. They act bigger than they talk, and they have the funding to actually execute their vision. They're not just out there yip-yapping, hoping that some magical money will come in. They actually have the ability to execute what they've done, and to be a part of that is something that drives me in 10 years. I still want to be by their side 10 years from now, enjoying the hurdles and the sorrows and the challenges, because we also enjoy the success and the victory and pivoted and made it through things regardless of what we were faced with. And so as I turn the microphone over to you, whether you want to share a general vision, like I want to be healthy and have productive kids and a great marriage, or a very specific vision, like I want the product we've built to reach billions of people and impact the way that they make a living by giving their attention, whatever it is that you want to run after in 10 years, we'd love to hear about it and to have an open dialogue amongst all of us. So with that, if you'd like to say something, please raise your hand and Ken or Malachi will bring you a microphone.
I'm sorry. I think we have 3 microphones. So we got Eric, Malachi, and Ken out there. So if you want to keep your time about a minute so we can get a number of people.
And please introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Philip Haslam. Thank you for sharing your hearts. So I have a dream and vision that my children would love Jesus more than me and be on fire for him. The specific vision. I'm called to the monetary space, and I see warfare in this space. There's countries around the world are printing money on a huge scale and causing negative consequences, inflation, impoverishment. And in 10 years' time, I want to see nations using sound money, point of sale, transactional network of sound money in individual nations, probably in smaller nations, Africa, South America, in Asia, in smaller areas. For me to succeed, it would be to see people in freedom with sound money.
Please go ahead. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
You want to respond to that?
I just want to say on my desk, in my office.
I've always called your desk the book.
The book.
I've always called it the book.
It's a prophetic statement.
Yeah. I am. It's a book called Sound Money by Roy something. Roy something. You can look it up. It's amazing because I think your average person doesn't understand what's actually happening in the capital markets, what's happening and why things are getting more expensive, and why does it feel like I'm saving more money, but I'm not, I don't feel like I have as much. And they don't understand about what's happening to the dollar, what's happening as they print money. They don't actually know what's happening as the world turns digital as well. And these same individuals who have been printing money are now trying to take over that world. So if we allow that, and we don't stand up as people that I believe are creatively and divinely created by God with relationship to Him to create something over here for prosperity to help the world, well, then we're just going to fall back into another system that's that isn't redemptive or regenerative, but is trying to actually extract from all of us again. And so I think beautiful minds like yourself, we can actually make a change.
That's great. Jay.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jay Kim. And just to give a little bit of context, I'm formerly incarcerated. I spent 3 years at San Quentin Rehabilitation Center. I actually do recall seeing Ted playing basketball. He's very good in paint. I'll go up with him. And the company that I work for is called Beachside. We've created a platform so that when people get released from jails or prisons, they can find and utilize the best reentry resources and services that are available in the cities and counties that they get released to. And the vision is for California to eventually close all of its prisons and to completely reduce the recidivism.
So good.
You know, as somebody who is currently on parole, who is currently going through this journey, I'm seeing that it's a nightmare. You know, and for a lot of my friends who've done it as well. And how can we provide a solution for the people, for the community, and for the state, and eventually, you know, for God's grace, for God's will, right, for the rest of the country? And how do we reshape reentry? And then how do we scale and how do we just elevate and change and innovate how social services is performed and executed?
Oh, so good. Thank you so much for sharing. I do want to say thanks for being vulnerable. It's not mandatory or necessary for you to share your background. Any of you are free to be vulnerable and authentic in that way, but I thank you for doing that. That says a lot about you and your character. And also, I was just thinking about what you and Ted had shared. Oftentimes people are like, I want world peace. And it's like, well, what are you going to do about it? I'm not going to fight. But if we all were to gravitate toward, I want zero homelessness and for there to be homeless museums, then maybe we would start leaning into, well, is there anything at all that I could do to help with homelessness? Or if a shared belief is, I want no prisons. I want recidivism to disappear because there are no places for prisoners to go because we've solved prison. And now there's museums of the incarcerated. Like, okay, if that was a desire, is there anything, I mean, anything at all that you could do or support that may lead to that over the course of time? And so sometimes we have these big visions like world peace that there's nothing for us to really do about world peace. But if our vision was less prisons and then no prisons in our county, maybe we could do something about that. If our vision was less orphans and no foster homes in our county, maybe we could do something about that. So oftentimes, instead of having these broad visions about things you want to change in the world, what do you want to change in your region? And can you gravitate towards something that feels impossible, like less prisons to no prisons, but that you, along with others, are here, can drive toward that same thing? And so I appreciate you articulating that the way that you did. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kathy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm Kathy Charoffer, and I'm the CEO of a Northern California organization called Lao Family Community Development. And so the network state, I think, is very abstract, but the concept of creating a coalition where apartments, houses, and, you know, property could be sort of like this network, like a virtual network, is very inspiring and interesting, you know. So my dream that I would like to see in California is that our government officials and the foundations and our policy and those who have control for making decisions on money would reimagine homelessness and housing. Because when you think about it right now in California, there's 111,055 houses for sale right now. 111,055 homes for sale. That's available right now. And the average price is $745,000 per home. That's $434 a square foot. The cost of building affordable housing, which is important, but it's the most expensive type of housing. It costs in the Bay Area $1.4 million to build one unit of a 2-bedroom. And so if you imagine that the average size of a house, you take 111,055 times 3 bedrooms, that's 330,000 rooms. We have 264,000 homeless people. Everybody would be housed right now. Right now, today. Instead of waiting on average 8 years from the time that you actually have a concept and a vision, you find the land, you figure out the zoning, the acquisition, the entitlement, and then you have to go and bid, drop, and then lease it out. On average, that's 8 years. How many people die a year, you know, in California? I think it's like 18,000 people who die a year from the elements. So imagine the lives that you can save and how we can rebuild communities by using property that's available right now. So that's the dream I have.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chi, and I just want to say thank you all for your amazing dreams and visions that everyone's been sharing. It's so inspiring. Like I'm in my seat and I'm just trying to stay in my seat out of it, right? I'm here representing Hacker Village. I don't know if you've ever been to Hacker Village.
Yeah, heard of it.
We're a nonprofit, and what you're all doing right now is what we do at Hacker Village 24/7 and 365. We hold space where people can come in. It doesn't matter if you're from the upper echelons, the lower echelons of society, and you can come in and you can have a dream, you can have a space, and you can try to make that dream into reality. And so we offer that innovation space 24/7, 365 in Mountain View. We We've been doing it for 16 years. And I had a vision, it would be to expand those spaces globally. So you were saying that you've been in different nations before you realized that your technology was almost on all the continents. I like to see innovation spaces that are accessible for people to have audacious dreams like ending hunger, ending homelessness, and have a community that comes together and supports that, because we find so often in our lives that when you say something as brave as, hey, I want heaven on earth, people are like, oh, this guy. Right? But they don't know, right? They don't know that without a dream like that, you can't ever make progress to them. And so I'm just here sharing that with y'all, and thank you so much. And I hope y'all can come to one of our events or something like that.
I love that. Okay. So Hacker Dojo, I used to be the head of people operations at tech startups. And so I would help scale the companies, hire engineers, and I loved Hacker Dojo. And I loved how you were giving, like it was nonprofit and you were creating an ecosystem for people to flourish. I always respected that about you guys. You changed people's lives. You literally changed companies and people's lives. And that's not a small dream, actually. It's a big dream. And I would love for Hacker Dojo to spread. And I wanted to give you guys just a little drop of maybe some reality, because I went all the way up here for you guys, okay? Somebody mentioned network states seem very ethereal, okay? But I want to just give you guys a concept. Okay? When we were in Singapore, a blaster on the screen were some of the top special economic zones around the world where people can go, they have the resources or the capability or the team, and just start a new country. They're all over the place, guys. You guys want an island, we can work this out.
Right.
Whoever wants to come with us. We're talking about this stuff. So one of the locations that popped up on the screen was here, the Presidio. I was like, what? There's something legally, I don't know, I haven't looked into the charters, there's something special about this particular area. So we could actually, this building, we could set a special economic zone here. We could have different charters, we could have different laws. We could start working on constitutions. We could declare you as the leader for now. You need a leader.
Stuart's a great leader.
Yeah, I can see it.
Good choice.
Yeah, you got the style.
Good choice.
He looks good. At least he'd be doing. So what we could actually do here is start petitioning, because we would have a different legal system inside of the United States. We could start working. And what if our little network state, our baby network state, again, not everybody needs to be a country. We're creating a platform to let a PTA group or a Bible study group or a network of home churches or somebody that wants a whole country. It's possible. But what this little network state here with Stuart leading it was connected to a bunch of other network states, little mini ones, some big ones. But that was connected to another one. And all the Christian network states were connected. And we all were, let's just say, hypothetically, we had digital wallets and little devices in our homes that help generate and mint and validate a blockchain network, okay? So a little modem in your house, in your phone. And we were putting, you have $20,000 in your bank account, JP Morgan. What if you moved $10,000 over to your own sovereign wallet? And that helped provide liquidity, and you became the bank. We became our own banking system. What if we were able to lock our tokens or your money into this ecosystem, and you got to share for nonprofits? I can pick the nonprofit in the back. I can pick your nonprofit. I was the keynote speaker at San Quentin, so I definitely pick your nonprofit because I like you guys. And what if we were able to, because of this economic union, we decided to become sovereign. We decided to become free. And we took a chance. We took a risk. And we started to work collectively together. What if we solved all of these problems? Because there is abundance when you start to pile money together. The other people do it. When I mean other people, I'm just saying that the world systems, they understand capital and they understand money. What if we did it?
Right.
It's that's as simple as we can get it. We can get it as small or as big as we want. But a lot of these things that probably need, 20,000 here, 100,000 there, they could actually be solved, guys.
Yeah.
It's just changing our mindset a little bit.
So good. Does anybody else have a microphone in their hand already? Okay, so one second. So there's two of you. So I'm gonna have the two of you go, and then for the last 10 minutes or so, three? Okay, so I have the three of you share. There's four. So you're first, and then we'll go to you. We'll come to you, sir, and then finally you, ma'am. So the four of you, please share. We may or may not choose to respond, because at the last 5 or 10 minutes, I want to try something unexpected and unique. We'll see how it goes, huh?
Oh, 1 minute.
Yeah, so keep it to a minute if you don't mind. Please, go ahead.
Paul's the timekeeper. No pressure, Paul.
Cyril Ryan from a ministry called the Potters Ministries and the
The-
Blessing Church.
The Partners Ministries?
The Potter and the Clay.
Potters. Got it, Potters.
The 10-year vision would be to see America in a full-blown revival, reformation, and awakening. And it's already starting, so it's not like a pie in the sky kind of a vision. The spark of revival is already there on campuses. We have been in the prayer movement for 25 years, plowing away. And now there is sparks of revival, so we need to just stir it up. And it's prayer that brings revival, so we are focused on that. 7 hours of prayer every weekday for America, planning for 24/7, launching a national movement called the Nehemiah Network to pray for congressional districts and members of Congress as well. So we'll get there by the grace of God. And I should mention, Ted is the one who really taught me personally about transformation in 2006. So that will not be forgotten. Thank you.
It's awesome. Hi.
Hey there, my name is Anita. I work in ed tech and also feel deeply passionate about causes. As I'm hearing you describe this one vision, it almost sounds like you're bringing heaven on earth and Middle Earth sort of.
Firmament. We call it.
So this firmament / Middle Earth, what does the future of education look like? And it would be even better if it's a moment, an inflection point where we can begin to save children from trafficking, because in the current earth, we see children trafficked online through games that they play, or trafficked even in their schools.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Brandon, you want to?
Can I respond to that? Oh, you go first. Okay. Can I have the team from Love Never Fails stand up? Everyone is with Love Never Fails, stand up. Okay. Mitzi, you're with Love Never Fails. Okay. Let's give them a hand of applause right now. One of the things that can inspire us, like Kathy's wanting to change policy in California. And, one of the things that can inspire us is we look back and say, hey, I haven't accomplished that yet, but I've accomplished this. They launched this thing called AI Advocate. And it came out of this community, and Vanessa is the founder who wasn't able to be with us today. In 2022, there was a law that was passed under certain rules and under certain regulations, and the theory behind the law was, let's stop criminalizing women who are just doing something that's natural. And what she saw on the ground in the Blade is the exact opposite happened. And she said, why do we keep making these stupid policies that hurt the victims, and we're selling them as though they're helping them? And she realized that if she didn't get involved in policy, all their amazing work to help the victims and empower them into incredible leaders would not do any good. So she had this vision of an AI advocate, of using AI to translate these complicated laws into 5th grade English, and then mobilize survivors who have lived experience experts and people on the front lines to weigh in on that so that people could advocate and get involved. And as a result of that, we've co-sponsored, I say we because I have the honor of being on her board. She let me do that. We've co-sponsored 3 bills. Is that correct? 3 bills have passed, and they've changed that law. And do you know that it is currently not a felony to purchase sex with a minor who's 16 or 17 years old? But praise God, that bill has already been passed, and as of January 1st, very soon it will become a felony, and it will be also solicitation for the sake of prostitution will become outlawed as well, and it'll be a mandatory $1,000 fine or more, and the fine goes into help for the victims. They've already passed the law, and they've changed the trajectory. So give them a big clap. Let's celebrate what they're doing. Hacker Dojo, talk to them too. So if you guys can help them, and that came out of this community. We helped build the environment to support them to do that. So let's be inspired by what we've done to see, hey, we can go do even greater stuff.
Okay, my name is Chris Cavagioli, and I know there's a lot of chaos in our world right now, and it's because the enemy knows that it says a house divided against itself cannot stand. And so that's why, back when I was younger, there used to be something called the USSR, in America, and there was a Cold War, and Ronald Reagan went over there and he shook hands and he became friends with a guy, and the USSR collapsed because God's love is much more powerful than nuclear weapons. But a house divided against itself cannot stand, and there's some communists that still try to attack America. They don't want to send in soldiers and airplanes and tanks. They send in division. And that's why now our nation is divided. There's like this political left and right, and people hating each other and stuff like that. And we need to cast that out in the name of Jesus. And then because that will, that's how they want to win over nations, by getting it to divide so that it collapses itself. And because the enemy divided, knows that house divided itself cannot stand. Many years ago, the enemy already attacked the body of Christ, and we had something called Catholic, and we had another group called Protestant. They were protesting against, each other. And then for hundreds of years in Europe, there were Christians killing Christians. And we talk about Muslims nowadays, but Christians were killing Christians in wars for hundreds of years. So as a church, we need to repent of that. And Jesus said that he wants to come back and he wants to marry a bride. He didn't say he wants to come back and marry 60,000 toddlers. He wants to marry a bride. So we have to unify the body. It's called the body of Christ. It's not plural. It's the body of Christ. And so I'm praying that this will happen, and it needs to happen, I think, first in the church, and it'll happen in our nations. And we need to cast out these political parties, but have people running for office because they have visions and provisions and stuff, and not necessarily just want to stay on one side or the other side and fight and fight and fight. But that's why I've been praying too, that we need to become one nation under God, indivisible, it means you can't divide, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Amen. Unity. Yes.
Yes, please go ahead.
I'm so excited about two things you brought up. One is heaven on earth, and the other one is about Renaissance. Because for a long time now, I totally knew within all myself, my bones, that heaven on earth is possible for us now.
Right.
So I've been working towards that in a lot of ways. And it's so great that you talk about Renaissance, because I'm actually producing a conference called the AI Renaissance Festival. All right, because to me, it's going to be a golden age that we're walking into. And the way that I want to bring golden age is through entrepreneurialism and AI. So my dream is that within 5 years, not even 10 years, all right, that there could be a founder that's 16 or 15 in Nigeria, a teenager, and a 70-year-old man in Tanzania. And they're offering their gifts to the world, like what you were talking about, currency. Right? Because I think that people will be fulfilled when we're able to offer gifts to the world. And then there's no need to fight, right? Because everybody's fulfilled themselves. And that's through entrepreneurialism. So I really see now with technology, with AI, that's going to be possible within 5 years, that everybody around the world, through the tools from AI, with the proper education, and also the internal growth, internal wisdom, to be able to step into that heaven on earth.
Yes.
For themselves and the world.
Love that.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, everybody. So we'll make a quick transition. Because I'm here with the four of you guys, I'm going to try something, and we'll see how it goes. So the four of you look at the crowd and maybe pick somebody out that you may want to encourage. So if you've seen Tony Robbins' documentary, I'm Not Your Guru, he does something very unique with a mixture of neuro-linguistic programming, his ability to read people, his ability to have intuition about maybe who they could be and could become, and then he has the ability to give a word of encouragement to that person in a massive crowd. And it is life-changing for people that receive that from Tony, and the people in the crowd often are like, I wish he said that to me. But the right response might be, me too, right? Like, I take that word of encouragement for me too. If you've ever been in a Pentecostal, charismatic type of faith environment, they might call this a word of knowledge or a prophetic word or something of that nature. But really what it is a word of encouragement. It is to take courage and put it inside of somebody else. Stuart. I remember seeing Tyler Perry on a late night show, and he was being asked maybe 10 years ago, how did you reach the world, bro? Like, how did you do it? How did you get your film and your TV to impact our entire culture? Everyone's talking about Medea at that time. And he said, I just went so deep with my audience. I served one type of person. I served Black people that were liberal and went to church. If you weren't Black, if you weren't liberal, if you didn't go to church, if you didn't have those three, I wasn't making stuff for you. That's who I made it for. And I made such good content for them that the whole world stood up and paid attention. Stuart, I've been thinking about that interview as I've been looking at you today. And I want to encourage you that what you're doing is going to make a profound impact across our entire culture because the way you're serving men and their children. And I want to encourage you to have that mentality that Tyler Perry had, which is when all the distractions come, hey, you could do this, and hey, you could do that. And what about this opportunity? And here's something for you just to stay the course and faithfully serve men and their children, because through your service to and through them, you are in the process of actively transforming our culture. And I honor you for what you're doing and what you're about to do. Woo, woo.
Okay. The gal from the AI.
Heidi.
Heidi. Okay, so this is going to lean more towards the Pentecostal side of things. Just to be fair. So when I asked, you were having when you walked in, and I asked the Lord about you, and I just heard like servant leader. And I also saw when you walk into a room, there's an authority about you. It's like I felt like there's this aroma. When you walk into a room and there's a presence that you carry, and yeah, it kind of, how do I say this? It kind of softens the area where you're around. So you have this ability to walk into the area, whatever that is, the aroma of the Lord. It actually like allows people to be very peaceful and calm, and you're able to speak into them. And I see you speaking into a lot of the Gen Z younger generation and understanding who their identity is in Christ.
Wow.
So I have two words, one for you, one for you. So I don't know what your background is, but I'm like, you were crafted and molded in prison. Like that's like Joseph. Like he was refining you and shaping you and shining you. And I don't know why I keep hearing Korea. I know there's this path that you're going down right now, but there's something about prayer mountains, and there's something about prisons and prayer mountains, and you're gonna unlock something, and you're gonna be taking a lot of trips to Southeast Asia, like lots of them. So you should get ready for that. And when those doors open up, be very aware of them. Like remember that, and because there's things for you to unlock there. There's things in the spirit. Like there's probably a book you should read by Young Cho called The Fourth Dimension. You're going to start to unlock things in the fourth dimension. And what that means is there's a spiritual realm that you now have authority over because of what you went through, because you've broken out of liberty and broken out of imprisonment. There's things and keys that you have in the spirit nobody else has. And there's doors that only you can unlock. And if you can master that realm, that spirit realm of connection with God, there's going to be things that you can unlock from men all over the world, but it's going to be through prayer. And so that's that.
So good. So good.
And then for you, I keep feeling like you live in really big shoes and in the shadows of really big men. And I don't know if that makes sense to you, but like there's a big calling on your life. But I want you to know that God says those big shoes that you're filling, big shadow being cast upon you. It's not the shoes of anybody in your family. It's his. And the shadow is his. He's going to protect you. So anytime you feel any pressure about the calling on your life, you need to brush it off because you're under his wing. It's him that you're actually walking into. You have a massive financial calling on your life, like huge. And it's not for you, it's for the people that you need to store the wealth for and to give to. So, and there's a lot of people that you're gonna help. So.
Good.
Hello, you ready, by the way? Yeah.
He was saying all that to you. He was talking to you, right? You, right there. Right.
You know I was talking to you. No, I didn't know.
I didn't know, but I love it. He's like, that was awesome. Who was that for? That's the proper response. Me too.
I love humility, maximility. It's really big. I want you to like listen to that, hold on to that, because it's wild the shoes that you're filling, but they are the Lord's shoes.
Okay, so to wrap up, yeah, we're ready to wrap. So to wrap up, a couple things. When you hear people share a massive vision, there's a cynical part of you that wants to tear them down in your head. You want to find reasons why they won't accomplish that or achieve that, or they shouldn't, or that's bombastic of them, that's arrogant of them, whatever it is. There's a cynical part waiting to pounce. And you may keep it on the inside, but there's another option for you. And the other option is when you hear somebody share a powerful vision about what they're running after, you can say, may it be true. May you have the grace to accomplish that. Even if you don't say it to him physically, just to think, may the wind be in your sails. We don't understand how we're all connected. We don't understand how things are manifest, but it does appear in the sacred scriptures that one of the potential ways, if not the way that the world was created, was by the creator of all things saying, let there be light. So there's something so powerful about the way we think and what we speak, right? So the way we think is before we speak, but what we speak somehow has an ability to manifest reality. So when people stand up and say, this is my vision, you have to hone your character to come in alignment with their vision and say, let that be real. Let it be greater than that. I wonder if there's something I can do to participate in that. Is there someone I can connect them with that might manifest that? And another thing is when people get encouragement, whether it's an awards on a stage or it's just two people at a coffee shop that you overhear, and somebody starts to speak life into somebody, as you just spoken to Max or me with Stuart and the others. When that happens, when you're around people putting courage into others, try to protect yourself from being jealous. Why not me? Why don't any of my friends ever say nice things to me like that? Why didn't they pick me out? I'm desperate for something to be encouraged by. The other option, which is totally realistic that we feel that way, but the other option is yes for them and me too. Like maybe nobody's going to say it to me, but I take it anyways. I take it as a dual encouragement. That's fine, man. Let that chick be encouraged, but me too. Me too. I need encouragement as a mom, or I need encouragement as a coworker. I need encouragement as an athlete. Me too. And so my final word to all of you is for the rest of your life, you will be around people casting big vision. You will be around people encouraging others and being encouraged by others. And you can either respond internally, cynically, or you can respond internally with life-giving energy that is good for your soul and may even impact the outcome of what is being talked about. And with that, I just say I bless all of you. There's something unique about our family. My ancestor founded the Presidio, so if you think there's anything about authority, obviously my family's been here 10 generations, and so you're here on this land. It's not my land, it's our land. We all share it, but there's something about our family being here all this time, and so let me just say, from our family, we bless each and every one of you, whatever it is you're working on, whatever you're putting your hand toward, in your family, in your career, in your achievements, in your hobbies, may you be graced in all that you do in profound ways. And that is what we leave you with. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you. Oh, yes, next month is December 12th. Can everyone say December 12th?
December 12th.
And January 9th. Those are our next 2 monthly meetings. And We Heart SF is now called the Innovate Connected Communities SF Meetup.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
If you didn't sign in and we don't have your email address, we would like that, please. So sign in if you have not signed in or checked in.
Thank you, my love. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this bad boy up. Thank you. Okay. Well, hello, party people. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Say hi to Riza. Say hi to Malachi. We love you. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, may you be graced in all that you put your hand to.